In this video, we are going to discuss on how to use selectorshub, chropath, and xpath tools to identify web locators for Katalon and Selenium. And we are going to make this video very interesting way. That is, we are going to explain these tools by comparing one with the other one for each points mentioned below. Now, let's proceed to the actual video. As we see here, these are 8 locator strategies: ID, class name, tag name, link text, partial link text, xpath, CSS selector. And mm, as you can see in this slide, we try to do a comparative tutorial about different xpath tools or locator tools which are available, and among them the most famous are chropath and selector sub. So we are going to discuss what is provided by chropath and what is provided by selector sub, and this is going to be that comparative way of learning. So in chropath, like we see here, chropath is a Chrome extension. It will support only only Chrome, and whereas selector sub tool is supported by Firefox, Chrome, and IE. And if it is not supporting IE at the moment, uh, we can understand that the development for it is still in progress. So yeah, and the point whichever we are discussing over here will be 100% valid up to this point, and if there are any changes or improvements, then you can find it in the description below, because though I can't edit the video once it is posted, I can still edit the description which is given in the below, and you can always check the description for the latest updates regarding chropath and selectors of latest version of tools and its capabilities. So in the first point is something which we don't have to see. This is the support, and in chropath we can build your own xpath but not good support on other locators. So let us see what it is, and before we discuss this point to point, I'll just show you chropath extension, how it look like in Chrome. So this is chropath. So I'm not going to show how to download chropath extension or how to download selector sub. It is pretty simple. You just go to Google and type chropath extension for Chrome. You will get it, and it is self-explainable on how you add this extension to Chrome. So once you add on the Chrome, it will appear over here. That means okay, your browser is going to support chropath. So once you install it, and when you right click, you will see these options, and you just have to click on inspect on any element which you wanted to inspect. You can click on inspect. So there you go here, and if you see here, this is the dev tool which is built in with the Chrome browser. So you can see over here, this is where you can type your xpath, or you can choose your locator to choose the web element. And we have already have a detailed video which is made explicitly on different types of selectors which are there. So you can refer to that tutorial, and yeah, so you can refer to that tutorial for a more detailed explanation. And here we can see that mm, this is something which you can search for the locators using the dev tool, whereas this is where you will find chropath on the right side of the screen. So you just have to click on chropath, and whenever you click on any element that you wanted to inspect, you will see the locators are displayed list-wise, the possible locators which you wanted to use. Instead, you typing it over here and searching for it and trying to find the best matches for that particular web element. This is everything present in here itself when you use chropath. So you don't have to check for the partial link text or partial text element, and obviously you will know by seeing the web page itself. If you try to identify this element with a partial text, there are multiple elements. If you try to search for the same, you will see the same over here when you check or tried in the development tool. So instead of doing it, chropath has done it all for you, and it is showing. If you try to use link text, there are 21 elements with the same link text. If you try to use partial link text, again 21 elements. If you try to use absolute xpath, it is unique. So you can use absolute xpath. If you try to use tag name the locator, web locator, then you have 150 elements matching with the tag name of that particular web element which you wanted to, which you are trying to inspect, so that you can use it. So the unique locators we found are absolute xpath, relative xpath, and CSS selector. Now the choice is very easy, which locator you wanted to choose. So you don't want to choose link text, partial text, and there is no ID at all present over here, and you can understand it over here also. So like this, the decision will be quicker, and you can identify the locator very quickly instead of uh, trying to search it over here and trying to see that this is the unique element or not, which is time consuming. So this is saving a lot of time. That is one thing. And this is how you do this using chropath. And let us see the same thing in selector sub, how it is. So even for selector sub also, you go to Google and download it. Here I have installed it for Firefox, and I have installed it installed chropath for Chrome. I just want to show that Selector Hub is also supporting Firefox apart from Chrome. I'm going to show this in Firefox. So this is my Selector Hub uh, tool in Firefox. Now let me inspect the same element using Selector Hub tool. So this is again Firefox dev tool, where you can type in and search for the web element by using different locator strategies such as ID, tag name, class name, etc. But like row paths, selectors hub also have given you the list of possible locators, and wherein it will tell you the unique locator, and it will tell you a locator which is giving you multiple results. So this is exactly same as in chropath, but in addition to all these locators, Selector Hub has also given me the JS path, which is nothing but JavaScript path also. So that is one thing which is additional that you can notice when you are using um, Selector Hub. And there is something called relative CSS selector. This is shorter. If you can see, this is relative CSS selector, whereas if you see the CSS selector here, this is very big one. And you need a lot of understanding to understand this CSS locator. So instead of using this entire CSS locator, you can choose to use this relative CSS selector as a locator to identify your object uniquely. Alright, so this is one more advantage that you can see. Build your own XPath, but you can't, but it's not a good, there is no good support on other locator strategies in chropath. So let's try to understand what does it mean. So in chropath, this is the place, this is equivalent to this particular box over here, where you can manually try to build your XPath or some locator by which you wanted to find the web element in your page. So here also you can build your locator or XPath. First, let us see the XPath part. So you can, okay, and I wanted to identify this element. And I know relative xpath is over here, which is already populated. I just wanted to see the same thing. I tried to type tr, which means I wanted to find tr tag type elements in this web page. So it is showing 22 elements are there, and it is showing the list also over here. Similarly, if I want to find the number of cells, it is showing me 147 elements, so that is pretty good. And if I try to find the hyperlinks, and the element which we are looking is one of them, so it is 150 elements. So out of 150 elements, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for something which has h reference tag equal to this, h reference tag equal to this. So I get to over here, and I find it, and this is only unique. So this way, instead of following this relative xpath, I can build my own xpath as well here. And this is again equivalent to the same thing when you do using the dev tool, which is along with the Firefox. I'm not saying this is a great feature which is there in chropath. I'm saying you can build in chropath your own xpaths like you do in the dev tool. So this is not an advantage. I'm just telling that this is available. It still has this feature which is there in standard dev tool, along with other features which are there to help uniquely identify your web element instead of you trying to do it, right? So this is there. So this is how you can build your own xpaths. And let us try to build what do we get? ID. Let me try to identify. Okay, this element can't be identified by ID. Let me try to identify this web element, and I wanted to see this ID is unique or not, and I wanted to see it over here. Over here in the chropath, btn and btn. See, chropath told me that there are 10 elements matching this ID. Okay, so let me just for cross check, let me try this in my standard dev tool, whether it will give me the same result or not. See, it gave me unique results. So the dev tool is saying that if you use the ID as selector, your locator strategy, then this is returning unique element in this page, which is representing this web element. Whereas in chropath, it is telling that there are 10 elements matching to this ID, so which is entirely wrong. So this is where chropath has failed in this case, probably I would say. So that means it is not good with other locator strategies. It is helpful for xpath locator strategy only, is what I can conclude. If there are any changes, you can check my description at later point of time. If this is fixed, or if this understanding is incorrect, you will get to know by going through the description of this video, right? But at this moment, this is what it stands. Chropath is really helpful to build your xpath, and that is the same feature which is there in standard dev tool also. So there is nothing great in this, but the greatness of chropath is it actually is giving the unique identifiers without you spending some time on to search for it using the dev tool. But it is actually failing at this point, and it is not good with the standard locators besides to xpath. So that is what exactly this means. And let us understand the same point which is there in selector sub. Whereas in selector sub, you can build your own XPaths and your locators own XPath I mean to say, and also it is good um, with the other locator strategies also. So now let us see the same. So this is what I have seen in chropath. Let me see the same thing in selector hub. So let me try with the same web element. Okay, so this is a web element, and like we can see that okay, these many unique locators are available. So when we see in ProPath, the unique locators it has displayed are only relative XPath, CSS selector, and absolute XPath. Whereas if you inspect the same element in selector sub, it has shown you relative CSS selector, relative XPath, and tag name. Uh, Apart from these, it also showed ID selector and also name selector and JS path. We know this already. So there are two additional selectors which are there uniquely present to identify this particular web element add, which is not there in Chrome. You can see it's not there in chropath. So that's what I meant to say. So selector sub is also good to identify web element using other unique attribute locator strategies as well. So when we see it in chropath, we'll understand that okay, only xpath is there, which we can use, and if we follow it, then we would build our object repository in Selenium or in Katalon by using relative xpath. But if you use selectors hub, you have options like you wanted to use ID and name. So when you have to choose between the ID and relative XPath, I would suggest that you choose ID. Only if ID is not unique, then you go for other locators. When you use XPath, this will slow down the automation process. That's why you should go for ID and name. So you won't know that you have to use ID and name if you use chropath because it's not there at all. So that's how selector sub is going to be helpful. That is one thing. And we are talking about building the paths manually, right? So this is the place where you can build your locator strategies. So first, let me try with the X pathway. I type double slash and it has shown me input. If I try input, it is going to return me 49 matching elements. So what should I do? Okay, I'll type input. So okay, I don't have to type, I just have to select it here. So this is giving me auto suggestions for me without typing it. I selected this one, then it has shown me the possible results which I can select. I can select ID, I can select name, value. So and it is also showing me the number of elements matching that criteria. So this has only one match criteria. This has 35. So I can select this one. See how easy it is. Even I don't have to type. Whereas in Dev tool, in fact, I have to type something when I wanted to build input. It is not giving me see any auto suggestions. Whereas if you use selector subtool, it is giving you auto suggestions which you can just select and build your own locator. So this is how you can build XPath. Let us look into the next point. So this point is done in both chropath and selector sub. Now we're talking about multiple XPaths at a time. So let us see what does it mean in chropath first. So okay, this is chropath. Mm, In chropath, if you see these features over here, mm, if we see uh, this one, okay, I'll explain what does it mean. Okay, if you click on this one, it will let you to let me remove the old ones first. Okay, so I click on record one. Now what I can do is I can select the different web, select this one and inspect on that one. It is added over here. You can inspect this one Again, this is added in the list. You can inspect this button, that is also added over here. Similarly, you can inspect this one, that is also added over here in the list, and you can click on stop recording. Okay, so now that is stopped, and you will see multiple XPaths are there. And what you can do is you can copy whichever XPath you wanted to copy, and you can keep it in your code, or else you can click on this button to export data into an Excel sheet. There you will find all the XPaths and you can use those XPaths. This is not the main feature. The main feature is this one. You click on this particular command, then it is giving you the automation code itself directly. Now you can click on export, and this will export into one file, and you can just copy all of these commands and copy into your code directly and do the operations. So it is saving some time that you don't have to type all these commands. You just copy from here and directly use them in your script itself. So this is one beautiful feature which is present in chropath. So you can copy you can copy multiple XPaths for multiple web elements at a time, and also you can generate some automation code automatically and try to use it directly in your automation scripts, right? This is one beautiful feature which is there with chropath, and this is not available exactly in selectors hub, but similar approach is there. It is actually not supporting multiple web elements, but it is actually supporting something similar to this auto code generation. We will see that part in chropath, sorry, selectors hub. So if you see it over here, you see, okay, enter the driver command and keep xpath values as keywords in the command. So you can, most of us in the projects will use page object model, right? So in the page object model, how do we collect the page objects is by using these methods, find by. So we'll type @find by, and we type xpath equal to, and we have to write xpath value over here and click on enter. So now here we will see the web locator is automatically generated. We have to just copy this and use it directly in our page object, where we keep all our objects over there. So this is one good feature which is there in selectors hub, whereas like chropath, we actually don't have a facility wherein we can record multiple web elements at a time and use them in the code. Instead, we can do this individually for single elements. That is what it is, and you have similar feature what is there in chropath, which when you click, it will give you that command. Similarly, we have something like here, which is giving the driver command, and the driver command is something which you are entering over here. So instead you can enter this command also, like what do you say, driver dot find element, driver dot find element, and we can say by dot xpath equal to all you have to write is xpath value, a sort of variable which will be replaced by these values. So you just click on enter button, or you can click on this one. Sorry, it got removed, I see. Okay, let me type again. Find element by dot xpath. See, now the code has come out with what you have instructed to be written. You can just copy it and use it in your code directly. So that is one feature which is there in both chropath and selector sub. It's just that in selector sub multiple paths are not supported. There may be some development in progress, or if it is already there, I will update in the description, but at this moment it's not there. And writing automation code is easy. I have shown you already that feature. And okay, this is also we have seen, and these are all the features which are explicitly there for selector sub and are not there in chropath. Now let us discuss these in selector sub. Error handling. See, uh, when we are building something, and let us say you have typed div, no, not div. Let us try for input, and you have selected this one, and at the rate id equal to you have typed some string abc, and you click on enter. It is saying invalid xpath because close square brackets are missing. So it has given you a message and it tried to tell you what could be wrong syntactically. When you try this one, then it will say 0 elements are matching. But if you try to do this in over here in the developer tool, let me keep it. I missed the square bracket intentionally. I clicked on enter button. It says no matches, but it will take some time for us to figure out that we actually missed the square braces. That is why there are no matches. Is something you can't figure it out. You will always think that okay, maybe this element itself is not present. But what if that element is present and you miss the square bracket? For example, let us try with this one. div. So it has shown one element and you miss the square bracket. It says 0 matches, but you always think that you are using the right xpath, but it is not finding it, right? So then you won't understand. If you do the same mistake in selectors hub, it is clearly telling that you missed a square bracket. So if you just give the square bracket and enter, it will show you one element is matching and it will give you what is that element, right? So that advantage is over here in selectors hub, which was not there in standard development tools as well, and not at all in chropath. And shadow DOM support. So we have shadow DOM support over here in selectors hub. Let us try to understand what is shadow DOM support. For that purpose, there is this website, and let us try to inspect this element. Okay, if you see this element, it is under shadow root and it is open status. So this, let us try to find this one. I will try to use this one, input. It is giving me no matches, and let me try xpath. even with the help of xpath also, I'm not able to find this web element. So this is all because this is in the shadow element. And with the help of standard dev tools, I'm not able to identify this object, right? And definitely not with chropath. Now let us see how it is done in selectorshub. So first of all, when you try to inspect that element, there itself it shares that the element is in shadow DOM, right? And also it has shown you the unique selectors over here without you trying to spend some time. So you tried to find the XPath. I'm just telling that let us say if you don't know that it is in shadow root, it is clearly visible here, but sometimes it will be uh, very deep inside this node, which you can't figure out immediately. All right. Okay. But when you will normally try to identify it by using the XPath, and you can't find it. And whereas when you use selector sub, it will clearly say this element is in shadow DOM, and for them XPath won't work. So you have to go for CSS selector, and it has given you the CSS selector also. And there are other possible locator strategies also. And here also you can understand that it is under shadow DOM, right? That is how it is very helpful in working with shadow DOM elements which are not supported by any other tool. And let us see, click on this one. This is a frame element, right? This is in frame. And you see the color is changed to orange. This means that it is outside the shadow DOM element, and it is in the frames. You can see it is in the frames. So likewise, you will know that whether it is inside the frame or not also. Okay, this part is again inside the shadow DOM, so that's why it has changed to shadow DOM. And okay, so it has shadow DOM support, and we have SVG element support also. We have SVG element support also is what it is claimed, but I can't see it at the moment. Let us try to work on that one. So we see SVG elements. Do we see any SVG elements over here? Okay, let us try this one. Okay. Okay. Yeah, this is this particular search icon. This looks like a SVG element, and here we clicked on this one, and when you see this, you don't see much change, right? This didn't change. It is saying it is in shadow DOM. This might be correct. Yes, it is inside the shadow DOM, and we try to identify this as SVG element, but I can't see any changes over here. See, it is still the same CSS selector, same tag name, which was there for this particular web element. Let us inspect this one. Okay, there is no change. It is showing input slot, input ID, the same web element. And when you try to inspect this SVG, see, you don't see that selector sub is actually showing that particular element which is supporting SVG. You don't see it here. So probably I think SVG support is not uh, good yet probably at this moment, but they claim that they support SVG elements also, but here clearly it is showing that it's not able to identify this SVG element which is there over here. Okay, that is pretty interesting. Let us see. Okay, at later point of time you can check the description of this video. uh, if what we know about selector sub regarding SVG web elements handling is incorrect or it is changed, I will update the same in the description as well. So stay tuned for the description. What else we have? What do you want to see and what you don't want to see? Okay. So what does this mean? What does this mean is, in fact, we have another way wherein we can use this particular, instead of going it over to selectors hub tool and trying to see what are the locators available, without going there itself, we can directly use this option, and you can copy the relative xpath itself. So now you can copy the relative xpath. Let me just paste it over here. So the relative xpath is over here for this particular button. So instead of clicking on inspect and go to the selector sub tool and see which locator is there for you, you can directly over here also and copy the locator strategy which you wanted to copy, and this is controlled by the selector hub studio over here. So you can click on this icon, it will show you which locators you wanted to show. For example, if I clicked on this one and I click on this one to inspect, I don't see the XPath over here because I have disabled it over here in the options. Okay. Yeah, that's how you can control what you wanted to see and what you don't want to see uh, in the selector sub tool. So that is pretty much we have covered. And when we come to XPath, this is another tool which is available as a Chrome plugin, like we see it over here. When you click on this one and click on any web element that you wanted to inspect, it will show the XPath of that particular web element. So it will show nothing but the XPath. We can just copy that XPath and use it wherever we want to. We can copy this XPath and keep it in your notepad. At the same time, you can copy this XPath and keep it in your notepad and try to use them in your testing. So that is how you can do it using this XPath tool. This is simple and this is only for selecting XPath faster. So that is all for now in this video. Hope you like it. Thank you.
If you have any videos like this, please upload them in your Google Drive and share that link to us in that email given over here so that we can upload it for you with your name on it. And that way we can build a common repository where anybody can find solution to the problems which they are facing. Thanks for your support and please subscribe to this channel if you wanted to see more videos like this. Bye.